After a brief training session with the twin spirits, Chinbai decides it's time to pursue his second SSS level scroll. He activates the S rank Demon Hunter Promotion Task Scroll, which instantly teleports him to the first layer of the Abyss. His mission is to kill 100 inferior demons and 100 fallen demons, but he knows completing this task will eject him from the Abyss. His true goal lies deeper within, at the Abyss Well, so he must avoid fulfilling the quest requirements for as long as possible. A day into his journey, while being hounded by endless waves of low-intelligence demons, the Abyss Well erupts. This event strengthens all demonic creatures and spawns countless more, making his journey significantly harder. While fleeing the horde, he is confronted by a pure-blooded demon warrior named Fergus, who arrogantly calls him food. Chinbai, speaking fluent demon language, coolly informs the shocked Fergus that the only reason dumb demons are chasing him is because he has already killed all the other intelligent species in his path. He then kills Fergus in an instant and continues his flight. 6 grueling days later, he finally reaches the Abyss Well, a sanctuary most low-level demons fear to approach. He recalls taking refuge here in his past life. Exhausted, he prepares to rest and feed the tens of thousands of demon bloodline potions he has collected to his mysterious mask. Before he can begin, he is interrupted. A powerful, level 18, Quetzalfish demon, named Der-17 appears. It reveals that it is a demon prince, from a deeper layer of the abyss, and has heard reports of a human slaughtering his way toward the well. It declares that it has come specifically to kill him. You are absolutely right. My previous summary was too brief and didn't capture the full detail and drama of the chapter. My apologies. A chapter with so many significant events deserves a more thorough recap. Let me provide a more detailed and fleshed-out summary of Chapter 52. Chapter 52, Detailed Recap. The chapter opens with Chen by facing the demon prince, Der-17, from the 77th layer of the abyss. Unimpressed by the prince's inferior hellfire, Chinbai coolly informs him that his royal bloodline will serve as a mere appetizer for a mysterious item in his inventory. After dispatching the prince off-screen and looting a C-Class Blackwater Trident, Chinbai turns his full attention to his true goal, the Abyss Well. As he stares into its swirling depths, the ancient will of the abyss itself begins to judge him. A litany of judgments appears, acknowledging his journey. I saw that you have no equipment above grade B. I saw that you lack temporary and powerful external help. I saw that you earned everything you possess with your own hands. I saw that your strength belongs to you alone. I saw that you have enough ability to control yourself. I saw that you don't know what you will face. I saw your name, Chinbai. Having passed this profound inspection, the abyss deems him worthy. It offers him its ultimate trial, a chance to earn the SSS grade, Abyss Overlord Class Advancement Scroll. The challenge is immense. He must defeat a level 10 projection of the Demon Lord from every single layer of the abyss. Before the trial begins, the system attempts to restore him to his peak condition, resetting all cooldowns. However, it hits a snag, flashing "Error! Error!" as it fails to reset the 72-year cooldown on his Return to the Past skill from the Hourglass of Time. In a moment of system-breaking crisis, the hourglass itself materializes. It interacts with the power of the abyss, and while the cooldown cannot be reset, it is instead removed entirely. This grants Chinbai an incredible safety net, allowing him to use his ultimate rewind ability freely within the trial, though he cannot return to a time before entering the well. With this unexpected and massive advantage, the trial begins. Chinbai becomes a storm of destruction, tearing through the early layers with contemptuous ease. The inferior demon lord of the first layer, Balhe, falls instantly. A montage of victories follows as he clears layers 2, 5, 17, 26, 34, 44, and 59 in a relentless, seemingly unstoppable ascent. His rampage, however, comes to an abrupt halt at the 66th layer. Here, he faces the Demon Sword Servant Adu of the Blood High clan. The fight is governed by a horrifying special condition. Only attacks that strike a weak point will register damage. All other strikes are completely ineffective. Chin-bai immediately recognizes the gravity of the situation. From the 50th layer onward, his raw attribute advantage had started to diminish. Now, faced with a lifelong demonic warrior under such a crippling restriction, his own skills, honed over 2 lifetimes, feel inadequate. He realizes that with no clear advantage in attributes or technique, and with the desperate need to locate his opponent's unknown weak points, there is only one strategy left: a brutal war of attrition where he must exchange injury for injury, blow for blow, to have any hope of victory. In the brutal, attritional battle against Adu on the 66th floor of the Abyss Trial, Chin-bai seizes an opportunity. After trading numerous blows, he activates his status red ability, instantly restoring himself to peak condition. With his health and stamina full, he overwhelms the demon and clears the floor. He then arrives at the 100th floor. The opponent is listed as Fallen Sword Master Gilbert, but the arena is empty, and there are no special conditions. As he cautiously moves forward, he is instantly killed. His consciousness fading, he manages to use status red to rewind a few seconds, only to be instantly killed again. He is only saved from true death by activating his ultimate Return to the Past ability, which throws him all the way back to the first floor of the trial. Shaken by the encounter with an enemy who could kill him twice before he could even react, Chin-bai changes his strategy. He fights his way back up through the layers, interrogating the Demon Lord projections for information. On the 72nd floor, he learns the truth. Lord Gilbert of the 100th floor is a legendary figure, a mere fallen demon who mastered the S-tier, Shadow Sword Master, class, a master of one-hit kills and shadow-based deception. Armed with this knowledge, Chin-bai returns to the 100th floor with a new plan. Knowing he is outclassed in skill, he decides to rely on his only advantage: superior attributes. He stays in constant motion, avoids all large shadows, and spreads his viruses throughout the area, hoping to infect the hidden Sword Master. The intense vigilance is draining, forcing him to repeatedly use status red just to maintain his focus. Suddenly, a bright light appears, and Gilbert materializes before him, telling him to sheath his blade. The fallen Sword Master concedes the match. He explains that the trial's restrictions prevent him from using his full power, and Chin-bai's virus has already successfully infected him. His final, failed attack was his last attempt at full strength. Impressed by the cautious human, Gilbert invites him to a true duel on the 100th floor of the Abyss once he clears the trial. Chin-bai accepts the challenge, promising to face his swordsmanship head-on when they next meet. Arriving on the 200th floor of the Abyss trial, Chin-bai is greeted by its ruler, the fallen angel lord, Elmia. Instead of attacking, the profoundly lazy Elmia invites him for a chat, curious as to how a human managed to survive so deep into the abyss. At her prompting, Chin-bai recounts some of his most grueling battles. On the 105th floor, he faced Cerubes, a slime monster that covered the entire floor. He defeated it by repeatedly feeding it his regenerating arms, until the creature was overwhelmed by poison and dissolved. On the 153rd floor, he fought the Barrow Flame Spirit, hardly his toughest opponent yet. Her intense heat nullified his viruses, and she could retreat into lava to heal. The battle was a 5-day war of attrition, where he had to completely fill her lava pool to finally exhaust and defeat her. On the 186th floor, he faced the filthy queen, Omond, a creature so disgusting, living in a pit of corpses and excrement, that the memory alone makes him lose his appetite. Elmia then tries to trick him into drinking wine made from her spiritual power, a fatal trap. Chinbai reveals her ploy, stating that he already fell for it once, died, and simply used his rewind ability to come back, having learned his lesson. Annoyed that her lazy attempt at murder failed and unwilling to put in the effort of a real fight, Elmia simply lets him pass the trial. She mentions that there are still many powerful opponents ahead, including 6 beings with divine names. After passing the 200th floor, Chinbai reflects on this new information. He is deeply concerned about facing the 6 true gods. While his hourglass of time allows him to challenge normal lords infinitely, he knows that gods possess authority over the rules of reality. They might have the power to kill him so completely and instantly that he wouldn't even have a chance to activate his rewind ability. Despite the fear, he hardens his resolve, believing that as long as he has even one chance to backtrack, he can eventually find a way to kill even a god. On the 235th floor of the Abyss Trial, Chinbai finds himself trapped in a powerful illusion by the Abyssalite demon, Salisbury. Inside the dream, a figure resembling his old nemesis, Heloise, kneels before him, begging to be his slave. Seeing through her ambition even in the fantasy, Chinbai toys with the illusion, demanding she put on a watchdog's collar. Suddenly, he breaks free, shocking Salisbury. Chinbai explains that he saw through the illusion because it couldn't replicate the true pressure of a god, and his sword spirits, being independent, were not affected. However, he confesses that he didn't break free immediately. The mental fatigue from clearing over 200 floors and using his rewind abilities nearly 1,000 times had pushed him to his limit. The illusion, by reminding him of his initial motivation to dominate Heloise, gave him a much-needed mental respite and saved him from going mad. After thanking the demon for the unintentional help, Chinbai learns a valuable piece of information. Many of the deeper layers of the abyss have collapsed due to ancient battles. As he leaves the 235th floor, the system confirms this, automatically skipping him past 44 collapsed layers directly to the 279th floor. Here, he faces a new and far more dangerous opponent, the Lord of Beasts, Baphomet. The trial's special condition requires him to first navigate a treacherous maze before he can even fight the boss. Chinbai immediately recognizes the name. Baphomet is not just a demon lord. He is the god of the towering tribe and one of the 6 true gods he learned about in his past life. Standing before the entrance to the blood-stained maze, Chinbai understands that despite everything he has endured, the real challenge has only just begun. Inside the Abyss Trial's 279th floor, Chinbai begins to navigate the maze of the Lord of Beasts, Baphomet. He quickly encounters and kills a level 1 version of the beast, which dissolves into a pool of blood. He soon realizes this was just a clone. As he proceeds deeper, he encounters progressively stronger clones. Level 2, then level 5, and finally a level 7 version. By level 7, Baphomet's attributes, amplified by its Gladiator God's Battlethirst Surge ability, are already nearly double Chinbai's own. Realizing that a direct confrontation is impossible, and that his viruses would take too long to weaken it, he is forced to use his rewind ability to retreat to the maze entrance and rethink his strategy. On his second attempt, he decides to experiment by not killing the Baphomet clones. He successfully runs past the areas where the earlier, weaker versions appeared, leading him to believe he might be able to bypass them entirely. However, he is suddenly ambushed by an incredibly fast Baphomet and is almost instantly killed, barely managing to rewind time to save himself. This near-death experience leads to a critical breakthrough. Chinbai finally understands the maze's mechanic. There is only one Baphomet, If he kills its clone, it respawns deeper in the maze at a higher level with a massive stat increase. If he doesn't kill it, it simply pursues him, leveling up as it travels deeper. His new plan is to let the weaker version follow him, giving him time to infect it with viruses before it reaches the later stages and becomes overwhelmingly powerful. As he finalizes this new strategy, he discovers a new skill in his arsenal that he hadn't noticed before: Mental Worm. This ability allows him to infect a target with negative emotions, causing mental instability and self-destructive tendencies. He realizes this is the perfect counter to Baphomet's Battlethirst Surge, as it will suppress the very desire for battle that fuels its incredible strength. Armed with a clear strategy and the perfect counter skill, he confidently prepares to face the Lord of Beasts once more. Using his new strategy, Chinbai lets the low-level Baphomet clone follow him through the maze, infecting it with his lung infection and mental worm skills. He confirms his theory. When Baphomet levels up, the negative debuffs are not removed. After an hour, he confronts the fully leveled Baphomet in the central arena. The mental worm has worked perfectly. Stripped of its will to fight, the beast is gripped by depression and self-doubt, completely negating its Battlethirst Surge ability. The demon laments its meaningless existence of endless fighting. When Chinbai tries to finish it, Baphomet reveals the arena's final rule: both combatants can be revived infinitely. The only true victory is when one willingly admits defeat. Seeing his opponent is already mentally broken, Chinbai pushes it over the edge until the beast surrenders, allowing him to finally clear the 279th floor. He then arrives at the 350th floor, home of the second true god he must face, the Serpent Demon Lord, Winifred. The trial is to pass the tests of its 9 heads. The first head simply asks if it's beautiful. Chinbai's smooth-talking flattery allows him to pass easily. The second head gives him a simple math problem: 1 + 1 =, which he also answers correctly. After bypassing 2 lazy heads, he comes to the 5th and 6th heads, who control water and fire. The two are in the middle of a heated argument. For their test, they present him with a dilemma. He must decide which of them is correct. Does water extinguish fire, or does fire burn out water? Faced with the impossible trial from the bickering water and fire heads of the serpent demon Winifred, Chinbai breaks the deadlock by threatening to attack them both. Shocked out of their argument, the two heads realize the flaw in their test and retract it. Chinbai then cleverly suggests that since they are only projections, they should have an all-out fight to settle their score after the trial is over. They enthusiastically agree and pass him. The trial continues with the other heads, but their tests are more like a friendly chat. One asks for stories about Earth's history, another about its food and scenery, and a third about its philosophy. However, the devourer head grows impatient and launches a devouring bomb at Chinbai. Recognizing its immense suction power, Chinbai allows the bomb to slowly drain his energy, planning to outlast it with his regeneration. But the head reveals the bomb explodes with 3 times the energy it absorbs, resulting in a massive blast. Chinbai emerges completely unscathed, impressing the devourer and passing its test. He then proceeds to satisfy the other heads with his knowledge, passing all their trials as well. Finally, only the 9th and final head remains. Its test is simple. Chinbai must survive the promised all-out battle between the water and fire heads as they finally settle their long-standing grudge. As the two prepare for their duel, Chinbai reflects that this entire 9-headed trial was clearly rigged and surprisingly straightforward. On the 350th floor of the Abyss trial, the heads of the serpent demon Winifred agree to let Chinbai pass. They reason that if he succeeds and becomes the Lord of the Abyss, having him in their debt would be an immense benefit. However, they doubt he will survive the next trial, the sinister assassin god on the 375th floor. Arriving on the 375th floor, Qin Bai is confronted by his new opponent, Yangdu, the Wolf Lord of Assassination. Qin Bai knows he is weakest against stealthy, one-shot kill-type enemies. His fears are immediately realized as he is caught in a relentless chain of traps, forcing him to use his rewind ability multiple times. He understands Yangdu is not just a god of assassination, but also a master of traps. On his next attempt, Qin Bai devises a new strategy. He releases his viruses to infect the area, and then uses his own area of effect spike ability to preemptively trigger all of Yangdu's traps. The plan works, revealing and neutralizing nearly 100 different traps in the immediate vicinity. An annoyed Yangdu appears, complaining about the effort it took to set up his forest of traps. Just as Qin Bai believes he has gained the upper hand, Yangdu attacks from behind, killing him instantly and forcing another rewind. In that moment, Qin Bai has a terrifying realization. Yangdu's stealth wasn't about hiding far away. The wolf god's power is so absolute that he has been right next to Qin Bai the entire time, observing his every move and knowing his every plan before he even made it. The battle against Yangdu, the Wolf Lord of Assassination, on the 375th floor proves to be Qin Bai's most difficult challenge yet. Yangdu's stats are more than triple his own, the forest is laced with deadly traps, and his viruses are ineffective, as Yangdu simply kills him the moment its stats begin to drop. After numerous deaths, Qin Bai devises a desperate strategy, a war of attrition. He decides to use his time backtracking ability repeatedly to memorize the location of every trap and slowly wear down the impatient wolf god with his viruses. Over the course of 15 attempts, his plan works. He lures the increasingly enraged Yangdu through its own traps, and the combined damage and virus effects gradually weaken it. When its stats finally drop to a manageable level, Qin Bai seizes the opportunity and launches a counterattack, finally defeating his cunning opponent. The victory comes at a cost, however, as the brutal fight has completely ruined his plague-set armor. As he recovers, he contemplates the remaining challenges, recalling that Heloise once mentioned a powerful succubus queen, Mechanthut, on the 400th floor. He mentally prepares himself for another grueling battle as he arrives on her floor. To his complete surprise, the 400th floor is not a boss battle. Instead, it is an open field teeming with endless waves of weak, low-level monsters. He then realizes the incredible opportunity before him. A skill from his biochemical disaster gauntlet allows him to permanently increase his strength, agility, and stamina by 1 for every enemy he kills, with no stacking limit. The 400th floor is not a trial. It's a gift, a bonus stage designed to let him infinitely farm and increase his base stats. The chapter ends with him beginning his slaughter, growing stronger with every kill,